Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I'm Zia Hamid, welcoming you to English grade 6 video lessons. Now we are dealing with unit number 4. The title is He's a Carpenter, and from the competency of reading and critical thinking, we are going to deal with an SLO. Now, let's look at our students' learning outcome. It says select, collate, and summarize ideas from text by paraphrasing them in the simple but correct language. So let's see what we are supposed to do. We will be selecting and collating, which means gathering the data and information, and we will summarize ideas that are presented in any kind of text type by using the paraphrasing technique of summarization, and we will summarize them in the simple but correct language. So selecting, collating, and also summarizing ideas from the text. And how do we do it? We will do it by using paraphrasing, and we will paraphrase and try to paraphrase in the correct way and in correct language, which is easier to understand. Now this is our students learning outcome. Now let's see how we are going to achieve it. But before that, I would like to introduce you to a vertical linkage of this SLO with the previous grade so that you can retain as much information as you can from the previous grade. Now let's talk about our brainstorming session for today. Now, have you ever written something without copying the exact words? Have you ever rephrased, paraphrased something by using your own words? And if you have done so, how was your experience and how do you understand by it? Think about it for a moment, pause the video, take a moment, and then we can move forward with our topic, which is about summarizing. Now, before that, let's talk about summarizing. How do we summarize and why do we do it? So summarizing or summarization is basically condensing the main ideas of a text into a shorter form. What do we mean by condensing? It means to shorten, to shrink it, to make it concise and precise in a shorter form. This is what we mean by condense. So in summary, when we are doing a summary of any text, we are actually condensing the whole text and the main idea specifically, because it is the big idea and the central theme of the passage or the text, and we make it into a shorter form and we use our own words. Now, we are going to talk about paraphrasing because it is the main goal of our students' learning outcome, to paraphrase text into a correct language. Now, paraphrasing is presenting ideas and information in our own words, and by using our own words, we show our understanding and our ability to express things or this information in an easier way. So paraphrasing something actually shows how much we understood what we read. Let's talk about the reason why we paraphrase any text. So we paraphrase to explain something we learned in a different way, using our own words. Now, what will this do? It will help us understand better, avoid copying others' work, and make things clearer or shorter. So, if you're studying, if you're reading something, the skill is to paraphrase it in your own words so that you will know that how much you understood it, and your instructor, your teacher will also know that what is the output you took from the text. And we make things shorter and more clear when we paraphrase. Now, let's talk about how do you paraphrase. Now, there are 4 simple steps that you need to follow if you want to paraphrase any text, whether it's any type, so that you can paraphrase it correctly. Now, step number 1 is you start the first sentence at a different point from the original source. You will be using synonyms, change the form of words, change the sentence structure. Let's look at number 1, which is starting the first sentence at a different point from the original source. So if the original text that you are reading is starting it with the sentence, now when you are paraphrasing it, you will try to avoid opening up with the same sentence as the original passage. You will be conveying it in a different way so that it differs from the original source. Now, this will make our paraphrased version very different. You will be using synonyms of the words in the original text. For example, if there's a word called nice in the original text, you can change it with good or any other alternative synonyms. Now, number 3 is change the form of words. Now, how the words are formed, you will be changing it when you are paraphrasing in your own words. So this will also differ it from the original source. And change the sentence structure. So if in the original text it is structured in a way, the sentences are structured and the tone, the voice, everything is original. Now when you are paraphrasing it, you will be using different structure, but you have to keep the main idea and the meaning intact with your paraphrased version. Now all these 4 steps are very crucial if you want to paraphrase any original source. Now let's look at practically by reading this stanza. How bright on the blue is a kite when it's new, with a dive and a dip, it snaps its tail, then soars like a ship with only a sail. Now, this is a stanza. How do we paraphrase it? Remember all the 4 steps we talked about. So, in this stanza, the kite looks bright and new while flying in the blue sky. It looks like a sailing ship in the sea. Now, this is the whole paraphrased version of the stanza. We changed our sentence structure, we changed our tone and our style of explaining, but the meaning and the idea is intact. So, you will apply all these 4 steps for paraphrasing, and for your classroom activity, you will be paraphrasing the last stanza of the poem that you have in your lesson. Now, you will play this simulation link to understand more about paraphrasing and summarizing. This is your worksheet where you have to read the passage and answer these questions, collate the ideas and put together and use your own words. Now, for homework, you have to paraphrase the first stanza of the poem from your textbook. And keep in mind all these 4 different steps we talked about when we are paraphrasing. Now, all these resources at the end, they are available in the description of the video. You can learn and put your theory, your understanding into practice by solving the worksheet, the skill sheet, go through the PowerPoint presentation and all that. So at the end, I would like to thank you for listening. I hope that our SLO is achieved by the end of our lesson. We talked about collating, understanding, summarizing the text by using paraphrasing, and we paraphrased a given stanza. We saw so many examples, and we put 4 steps or step-by-step approach to paraphrase any original source. I hope that you have understood it completely. See you in the next video lesson. Allah Hafiz.